Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day one of the Paper Crafters Get Organized Summit. My name is Laurel Beard. I'm one of the hosts, and I'm super excited to be here this morning. I'm going to have to put on my readers. This is showing my age because I'm actually not in my craft room today. I'm in a corner of my bedroom because I got a little injured a couple weeks ago. So I don't have my nice big monitor that I usually read all your lovely comments from. So I shall put on my glasses and get to it. Priscilla asks, is it important to store markers horizontally? And is that true of all types of markers and pens? Well, I think if you were talking about like a paint pen or something with maybe a thick formulation on the inside, I would probably store it on its side, because if you store it upright, then all of the liquid is going to sit at the bottom of the barrel. I have some alcohol markers, not Copics. I have some, knockoffs, and I store them up and down, and they work just fine. I give them a good shake. So I guess it just depends on what medium, what kind of marker you have. I find how I store my inks and my markers are just fine. Eileen, I'm looking for tab dividers. I started out by cutting down file folders, but that was too much work. Any suggestion for ordering? Oh, you want little tab dividers. So the tab dividers that I actually use, you can make them on your Cricut. If you have a machine like that, you can actually cut it out, but not everybody has that. I actually bought all the dividers from the stamp market. They come in white and they come in colors, and they had the little tab dividers already on them. So I went the more expensive route by just buying my own, and they are from the stamp market. But if you have a die cutting machine, not a die cut, like a Cricut or something, you could also do that. I believe scrapbook.com, yes, also has some dividers already cut out for you. And then all you have to do is, I used to use my label maker to make everything pretty. I just handwrite it now. Oh. Can I use one blending brush per color family? You can. I know that the rule of thumb for Copic coloring is get 3 colors, a light, a medium, and a dark. I am not very good with coloring. I color like a child. So that's why I went the cheaper route and bought some alcohol markers that work just fine for me. And I find that if you just continue to go over the same color multiple times, you can get a darker color, and you can do your shading that way. So I don't think that you need to buy 3 colors per family. I think it's completely up to you, what skill set level you're at, and how much money you want to spend. What about brushes for ink blending? Are you asking what kind of brushes I use, or one blending brush? Yes. Now I know Ardith, she's like the queen of organizing by color. She probably has one blending brush per every color. But I don't do that. I tend to keep the blending brushes. The blues stay with the blues, the light colors and the dark colors I keep separate, of course. And then usually I just run them under some water when I'm done, or I just see, I told you so. She said I do, or I just wipe it off on some scratch paper to remove the color, and I find that works just fine. So I don't have, I have almost all colors of Catherine Puller inks. I don't know how many that is, but it's a lot, and I don't have that many blending brushes. So, and to remove the ink, I simply just run it under warm water, because I'm not using a permanent ink. If you were using a permanent ink, yeah, that's going to mess up your blending brush, and you can't really clean your blending brush. But with the inks that I use, yeah, I can totally just do that. When and how did you get into paper crafting? Well, crafting in general. It's a funny story. So my son, who is 18 now, we were doing little play dates. So I want to say he was probably under the age of 1. I went over to my friend's house. Her name was Beth. And she had all this stuff set out on a dining room table, and this little like contraption, which I now know was a Cuttlebug machine. And I thought that was hilarious, the name Cuttlebug. But then she was talking about stamping. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're postage stamps. They're 39, whatever they are. You just stick them on an envelope. What are you talking about? And at the time, she used paper tray ink stamps. So they came in like a CD disc. And so that's when I discovered the world of stamping. And then, of course, the Cuttlebug. I still have my original Cuttlebug machine. I had gotten it off of eBay at the time for $50. I still have it. It has stickers and all kinds of marks from my kids, both kids, my daughter and son now, all over it. And I don't clean it because I just love how it looks, but I still have my original Cuttlebug machine. And that's how I get into stamping. But the first thing I ever made, which I was so proud of, which was butt ugly, was I went and got a clipboard from like Michael's, got some pattern paper, which was ugly, and some Mod Podge, and I created a Mod Podge clipboard for his teachers. And I thought I was just hot stuff making that. And that was my very first project ever. So that was probably 17 years ago. Can you show us how to use the bullet journal? I can. I actually had my son bring me one in because I'm injured, so I don't move around too much these days. But here's one of the bullet journals that he grabbed for me. And I call this a Get It Done bullet journal. I made them and they're available on Amazon. They're only $6. And each cover has a different print of mine, whether it's a watercolor piece or whether this is just an abstract art piece. And the inside are just bullet style interior. And listen, people can stamp in it, they can draw in it, they can use stickers in it, they can do all kinds of things, but all I do is write in mine. I just write down all my ideas. These are so inexpensive. So I actually have different themes. I have a summit one. I actually have a PCGO summit one. All different things. Classes, I keep a separate one for class ideas. I keep a separate one for watercolor ideas. And I just write in them with a pen. It's really whatever floats your boat on however you want to use your bullet journal. This can be used as simple or as complex as you want. It's completely up to you. I have used regular Sharpies, just like fine tip Sharpies. I would not watercolor in this. This is I forget the GSM off the top of my head because I have a brain fog from my injury. But I think the watercolor would pill the paper. But I use just markers. You can stamp in it. You can use ink in it. Some, depending on the kind of medium you use, it might bleed through to the other side, but it's completely up to you. These are only $6. So I feel like, the whole reason why I made this is because planners are expensive and I'm not really a planner, stamping and doing that kind of thing. So I didn't want to spend all that money for a high dollar planner. And I also didn't want one with dates in it because I find that I really don't keep to dates. I just like keep ongoing lists. And that is why I made this. And I'm actually in one of our sponsors, Mim. She owns the Paper Planner Club. And I'm in one of her summits that's coming up. And the title of my class is How I Write Crap in My Bullet Journal to Stay Organized. That's the title. So I really feel like it's whatever floats your boat. I like your tip of using a kitchen island in your craft room. Absolutely. You can go to, I have, IKEA. Not everybody has an IKEA near them, but they have some really great and expensive things. And also Wayfair. What I use right now, it's supposed to be like some kitchen island bar. It came with like little things you can put underneath to store wine glasses. I simply just didn't install those. And that's it. So I think if you limit yourself by looking for craft room, air quotes, it's going to be expensive, and then you're limiting yourself. So, you saw that I use coffee mugs all over the place to hold markers for that reason, and old planners and things like that. I think that if you actually took a stroll around your house, you might find you already have what you need. You don't have to go buying anything. What's your favorite color scheme? Oh, I'm a huge fan of color. My very first class I ever made is Color Theory Simplified, how to make things look pretty, because I would take some classes on color theory and I was so darn confused by the end of it. I didn't understand any of it. So I made my own class, and I just love complementary colors, analogous colors, love it all. And really, I just throw, kind of like with the 3 marker rule, I just throw all the rules out the window and I just do whatever I find is pretty. So I typically keep with unconventional color schemes, and I like bright, bold, fun colors. So I don't know that I really have a favorite color scheme. My favorite color is like in the mint family. I tend to always gravitate towards the pretty mint, like mint to be. I think she changed the name of that ink color. That used to be one of my favorite ink colors from Catherine Pooler. The link to my color theory class. Yeah, let me grab it real quick. Color, here it is. I will throw it in the comments for you all. The fact that I'm multitasking right now is a big deal. But anyway, so that's the link to my color theory class if you're interested in that class. But that's the very first class I ever made on my own. I was so proud of it. It was a couple years ago. I did that class when I was living in New York. I remember filming it right with the snow outside. If you have small stamp sets, should they go in a separate bin? I store all of my stamps in a fridge bins, which was in my class, which is, I guess it's made for a refrigerator, and they make them to where there's either one bin or you can have one with a divider, and I chose the one with the divider, and all my stamps go behind there, whether they're big or small. I don't have a lot of rubber stamps because they're hard to store. So I don't encounter that problem, but I guess if I did have some, I probably would just put them in a bin and leave them in there. But I like everything in a little pocket so it all stays confined. And that's how I store all my stamps. And then usually I put the coordinating die on the back side of the pocket. And then when I'm making my pocket and I'm labeling it, I'll put the name of the stamp and then I'll just add a little dot. And that little dot will let me know that has a coordinating die set with it. Most of the time I remember, but you never know. How do you store a kit that has stamps, stencils, and dies? That's a great question. I don't buy kits too much because I find there's usually something in that kit that I won't use. So then I feel like I've wasted my money. But if I did, I would still probably separate it. I keep my stencils with my stencils, and I keep my stamps. And if it's a coordinating die, I'll keep it in the same pocket. And if I have standalone dies, they have their own section for all dies. And I have them labeled by background, floral, miscellaneous, that kind of thing. So I probably would split that kit up if I had a kit. Where did you get that divided shelf unit that holds the plastic storage boxes? Ooh, that was from Stamp and Storage, I believe. There's two places I buy from, Organize More and Stamp and Storage. And I'm pretty sure that one, I think you're referring to the Taylor Expression bins. They must have partnered together because that's actually how I found Stamp and Storage, that shelf, because I went to buy are my glasses crooked? Because I went to buy the plastic boxes, which are amazing. Amazing. Oh, how often do you purge your craft supplies to stay organized? Now, I'm going to get some haters on this. I know I am. But honestly, I actually just did this not long ago. Ooh, sorry. I'll go through I keep it all in one bin, so that's helpful. They're all in one location. And I'll go through and I'll look at this and be like, I have not used this in a long time. Bloop, and I just throw it over my head. It lands in a pile behind me, and I continue to do that. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And when I'm done, that goes in the purge pile. I either send it to a friend or whatever, but it never comes back in my room. If I made the impulsive decision to get rid of it, I'm sticking with it. However, I have found that you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be in the mindset to want to get rid of things and not hoard them. So if you're not in that mindset, it's not going to be worth your time. But honest, a flip, I probably even do the sound effect, and that's where it all goes. Do you have a system to keep track? No. Now, I know there's like Evernote and probably some other things that you can use, like digital things to keep track of what you buy, but I don't have that because, again, since I store all of my stamps in the same bin, if it's getting tight in that bin, hey man, I got to get rid of some stuff, right? I can't possibly use that bin holds a lot of stuff, that fridge bins. And if I'm filling that up and it's getting tight, then I'm not using all that stuff, and I'll go through it. Now, the only thing I will never purge are my Harry Potter themed stamps that I got eons ago, probably before copyright was a thing. So I still have them. I'll never get rid of those ever, ever, ever. Even if I don't use them, they'll stay with me forever. But to answer your question, no, I really don't have a system. Everything has its own home. Everything has its own place. My stencils, my stamps, my dies, my inks. So because they all have their own home, I pretty much know where everything is. So I don't really need to have a digital catalog system or anything like that. But I know plenty of people that do, and it works for them, especially when they catalog their sentiments. They might, keyword in some of the sentiments in there. Then they can go into it and then type in thank you, and then it'll pull up all the stamp sets that have a particular stamp set in it, or that sentiment in it. But I don't do that. But I'm sure it would work if I did. Hello, can you suggest a bulletin board or such for a display of my artworks? Well, the bulletin board that I have in my room that you probably could have seen in my video, it actually, if you're looking at my desk, it was to the right. I made that by buying some foam board. Oh, it was so long ago. And I just put some fabric over the top of it. And on the back, I just stapled it all. I mean, it ain't pretty from the back. And then just some thumbtacks. And I made my own. And that's it. I think I just probably went on YouTube and figured out how to make my own. So you can do that. Or of course, you can, if you have an IKEA or a Target or anything like that, you can get some of those cork boards that are pretty. If you're into magnets, you can get a big old magnet board or something like that. It's really up to you. But I like a thing where you can do your thumbtacks and stick it in there, because then you can change it out when you want to. But I made my own. I think it was just like a little foam board, got some cheap fabric from wherever, Joann's or whatever, and then just staple gunned it to the back and then hung it on my wall. Easy peasy. I do not have a craft room, but I have lots of craft items. I feel you, Stacy. I need something I can use near my desk after I'm done with work. Very limited space. Any suggestions? Yes. One of those little rolling carts. Used to be, at a time, IKEA was the only place you can find them. They're called Raskog, Raskog. Rolling carts. Now you can get them anywhere. They're at Michael's, they're at Joann's, they're everywhere. And those you can just roll up under your desk when you're done, pull it out and let it sit next to you when you're working with it. That is what I would firmly suggest. They're inexpensive and they hold a lot of stuff. And then you could just tuck it up under your desk, or tuck it up in a corner if you don't have a desk or whatever. When I first started, I worked at off the dining room table, and I just kept everything in big boxes. I mean, you do what you have to do. Doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to be functional. Do you keep the packaging? Nope. Michelle asked, do you keep the packaging that comes with the stamps and the envelope as well? Nope. I usually do not. I usually toss it all. Just goes in its own little storage pocket, and that's it. Sometimes the stamp will come with, the label, like, that it sits on top of, that says the name of the stamp. I might keep the paper in there, but as far as the plastic packaging and things like that, no, I toss all that. I throw that all away. Were you always a person that didn't hoard supplies, or did you learn that later on? Jean, I was a hoarder. I was a big time hoarder. And I was a military. My husband was in the military. He's retired now. So we did have to move a few times. And I found that when I did my first move and I went to pack up, I was like, what is it? First of all, I had tons and tons and tons and tons of 12 by 12 paper. I don't use 12 by 12 paper. I never have. So when I moved, I found that was a good opportunity to purge my pile down. Every time I moved, I purged more. I think I could go in my room every day of the week and find something to purge if I wanted to. But I just take a couple times a year. I'll just go through any more, areas of, I'll focus on one piece of furniture or one area, and I'll purge that area, and then that'll be it. But I have to be in the right mood, and I cannot second guess myself. If you don't use 12 by 12 paper pads, why do you have them? That's what I would ask myself. I never, ever use them. So they're gone. And now I really don't have much pattern paper at all, because I usually start all of my projects with a white piece of cardstock. Is how it always starts. So I hope that helped you. Just get rid of it. You've already paid the money for it. You're not getting your money back. So what's the point of holding on to it? There is none. Get rid of it. Throw it over your head, make a cute sound effect, and you'll feel better. One more question. When organizing cardstock, do you keep all the colors together with different vendors? I keep them all color coordinated, not vendor coordinated. So it'll be in rainbow order: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, brown, black, white, and that's it. And I don't have a lot of pattern color cardstock either. So it's in those little, you should have seen it in my bookcase, but it's in like those little 3-tiered filing trays, the little mesh filing trays you can get from any office store. That probably came from IKEA. And I just put them all in there. The most cardstock I have, the only cardstock I have that I buy in reams, which is 250 pieces of cardstock, is white, because I can use white cardstock like no one's business. Black, I like black, and then I have some colored cardstock. My favorite white colored cardstock is, I'm going to have Ardith type it up because she got me hooked over to it. I used to use Nina Solar White, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You can buy it in a pack of 25. You can buy it off of a ream and Amazon. But she's got me hooked on this other stuff that I also got from Amazon. I know she's typing it up there. And you can use markers, alcohol markers. You can ink blend. Hammer Mill Premium Color Copy Cover 100 pound. There it is. I bought a ream of it. And you can use, it's not often that you can find a cardstock where you can ink blend and use alcohol markers with, and she found it. So I have now switched to that right there. And that, I get it off of Amazon in a ream. And my gosh, you probably only need a ream every 3 years. Elizabeth, this isn't a question, but I can't wait to meet Laurel. Oh, I'm so excited. Yes, I'm going to my first retreat in Lord knows how long. I can't even remember the last one I went to. I'm going to the Nashville Craft retreat. I can't even talk. Ardith is flying down to see me first, and then we're going to drive over together. So I'm super excited. I'm excited to see you too. What is your preferred black cardstock? I think I use black cardstock, Concord and Ninth. I try to use the black cardstock that you can buy from like scrapbook.com, because usually I'll tack on a couple of other things in my order rather than just black cardstock. So whatever black cardstock they carry is what I'll get. I think I like 100 pound is my limit on the weight. 80 pound is a little flimsy, which is fine for like a panel. If you're going to do a panel and then adhere it to a card base, you can get away with 80 pound, but 80 pound by itself, it's a little flimsy. It's time to wrap up, everyone. Thanks for joining. Tag me in the Facebook group or on the YouTube channel where this will be available for replay. If you have any further questions that I didn't get to, and I'll answer them there. But I hope you're enjoying the summit. Today is the first day of the summit. I'm actually the second live Q&A, so you're right in the beginning of everything. If you're Ultimate Organizational Bundle, we have a special event tonight and tomorrow night, Sunday, so I'll see you there. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying everything. And thanks so much for joining me for my live. Bye.